Open and go to the crop tool and then line up the grid using the cursor so that the image sides are parallel to the lines in the grid. You can do that by eye. It's very easy. We can accept the crop at this point, but we're gonna take out the white border. Go back up and accept it, clicking the check mark. We want to convert the layer 0 now to a background layer, so we'll just use the layer option, new layer, new background from layer, and then we'll go into the curves adjustment layer to do the color correction. Choose the eyedropper with the white at the bottom because we want to click on a white point, or a point that should be white in the photograph, for the white balance and the color balance to be correct on the child that she's holding. That gives us a pretty good color correction. Now we're going to take out the crease using the spot healing brush. The crease is on the left center, and to do that we'll click at the top of the image and then at the bottom of the image, holding the shift key down, which will create a straight line from top to bottom. So we can do that correction in just one click. Let's paint out some of the, using the spot healing brush, some of the dirt that's in the picture, in the sky. Just brush it out with the spot healing brush. And there was a piece of string, I guess, in the original photograph or when it was scanned, so we use the spot healing brush to get rid of that. This works because the sky seems to be a uniform blue color, so it's easy for the spot healing brush to work. And now we can proceed to taking out the figure on the right, the extreme right, and we're going to use the patch tool to do that. Now I want to draw, using the cursor, an outline around the figure as close as I can get, completely surrounding the figure and the shadow on the wall. This is where a tablet would come in handy. A cursor being drawn with a mouse is a pretty gross tool. Now I go inside the selected area, select it as source for the patch tool. So just click on the left mouse button inside and drag it down to line up the background wall. Move it over a little bit to the left. And it's easier now to work with the clone tool. That's good. Now let's use the clone tool to line up and correct the wall in the foreground. I'm setting the clone tool on a normal. And I'll set the size a little bit larger than the area that I want to clone. And we set it using the Option or Alt key. When you see the target, just push the left mouse button and that will select those pixels for cloning. And just dragging it over. Clone tool is set on alignment so that the pixels will follow the alignment of the target. And this is the bottom of the wall. But first let's go back and correct what we did before, just to clean it up a little bit. It's not going to be perfect. As I said, this restoration, the first part of it is rather gross, but it gets us a start. That'll work. Now we can do the left side of the wall, which has a big shadow on it. I could have cropped the photo, but I didn't want to do that. This is doing a reasonably good job. We'll have to go back and clean it up a little bit when we're finished here. Part of the issue with the clone tool is to have it not look like it's been a clone. It's about as good as we're going to get there. The top of the wall we could just clean up slightly. We don't want to change the shadow of the building and the water. So that's pretty good. And now we're just going to sharpen as much as we can, because we're just about finished with this image. We'll use the Smart Sharpen function in Sharpen Filter. We'll use Gaussian sharpening. And they give us a thumbnail which will blow up to 200% so we can see the effect. We're only going to do a minor amount of sharpening here. When you sharpen too much, it makes it look like a sharpening anomaly, which is very bad, and also increases the noise. Something else we don't want to do. Clicking on the thumbnail will show you the original, and when you let go of the cursor, after holding it down to view the original, you can see what the effect is of the sharpening. You can see that Gaussian blur is selected in the sharpening mode. But once we accept the sharpen, we'll pretty much close out the file because that's pretty much all we can do.